Now, I will be simulating the embryonic development from an embryo to fetus until it is ready for the environment of the outside world. For week 4, the developing embryo forms the distinct epiblast and hypoblast layers, which will later evolve into specialized tissues and organs. A fluid-filled membrane called the amniotic sac forms around the developing blastocyst. After the amniotic sac forms, the blastocyst is considered an embryo. And the nervous system, including the brain and spinal cord, starts to develop in the embryo. And the developing embryo forms the distinct epiblast and hypoblast layers, which will later evolve into specialized tissues and organs. And now, tissues from the outer layers of the initial blastocyst, called the placenta, is attached to the uterine wall. The placenta provides oxygen, rich blood, and nutrients to the developing embryo and later on to be called as fetus. So this is the embryo in week 4. And for the week 5 of its development, the placenta continues to develop alongside the growing embryo. And the digestive, circulatory, and nervous systems of the embryo are in the early stages of development during week 5. And the major tissues and organs starts to form, including the brain, spinal cord, nerves, heart, blood vessels, kidneys, and gastrointestinal tract. So this is the embryo in week 5. And for the week 6, the spine and other bones are in the early stage of development. The eyes and ears begin to develop during weeks 6 and 7. Arms and leg buds starts to form. So this is the embryo at week 6. And for the week 7 of its development, the umbilical cord connecting the embryo to the placenta is fully formed, and the umbilical cord carries oxygenated blood and nutrients from the placenta to the developing embryo and later on to be called as fetus. The heart is beating at a regular rhythm, allowing for blood to flow through the early circulatory system. The heartbeat averages about 90 to 110 beats per minute and can likely be detected by an ultrasound. During approximately the first 10 weeks, 3 sets of kidneys form. First is the pronephros, second, mesonephros, third is the metanephros. And the metanephros kidneys eventually develop into the permanent adult organ. So this is its development by week 7. And by week 8 of its development, the arms and legs lengthen and the embryonic tail becomes less noticeable. Notably, during week 8, the brain becomes larger and lungs begin to form. During approximately weeks 7 through 14, the reproductive organs and external genitalia develop. During week 8, testes or ovaries have formed. So this is its development at week 8. At week 9, the embryo continues to grow in size and may start to move around. The upper and lower limbs continue to lengthen, and individual fingers and toes are distinguishable. During approximately weeks 6 through 9, thin walls called septa form between the four heart chambers to create the upper atria and lower ventricles. So this is the embryo during week 9. At week 10, the features are more distinguishable, particularly the outer ears, nose, and eyelids. The placenta and umbilical cord continue to grow along with the fetus. At this stage, the umbilical cord may be detectable using an ultrasound. At week 10, the embryo is considered a fetus. The organs comprising the nervous, circulatory, respiratory, urinary, and digestive systems continue to grow and develop. Notably, during week 10, the intestines rotate. So this is the fetus by week 10 of its development. So when the fetus is already in week 11 of its development, as the fetus continues to grow, the facial features becomes more defined and move into position. During week 11 of the pregnancy, the ears move further along the side of the head, and the eyelids, nose, and nasal passages becomes more developed. During approximately weeks 7 through 14 of the pregnancy, the reproductive organs and external genitalia develop. During week 11, the penis or clitoris and labia majora have started to form. So this is now the fetus by week 11. And by week 12 of its development, at this stage of the pregnancy, fingernails and toenails start to appear. During week 12, the facial features appear more defined. Inside, the vocal cords and nasal passages become more developed. During approximately weeks 11 or 12, the kidneys begin to function. Amniotic fluid ingested by the fetus is filtered through the kidneys and excreted as urine. So this is the development of a fetus by week 12. And by week 13, the brain continues to develop and grow larger. Proportionally, the head is about 1/3 the total length of the fetus from crown to rump. At week 13, the fetus is large enough to fill the amniotic sac and uterus. Around week 13, soft, fine hair called lanugo starts to appear on the skin. So this is the development of the fetus by week 13. And by week 14, the position of the head starts to lift and straighten. Although still wide set, the eyes move toward the front of the face. The external genitalia continue to develop. And now, this is how the fetus looked like at week 14. And by week 16, the head has lifted into an upright position and the neck is more defined. Inside the mouth, taste buds have started to form on the tongue. The fingernails and toenails continue to strengthen and grow. The toenails in particular may lengthen and become more noticeable during approximately week 16. So this is the fetus by week 16. By week 18, at this stage, most structures of the eye, including the cornea, iris, lens, retina, and ciliary body, have formed but are not fully refined yet. The eyelids remain closed. The eyes, eyelashes, eyebrows, and eyelids will continue developing until the final trimester. The structures of the inner and outer ear are nearly fully developed. As a result, the fetus starts to hear sounds. So this is the fetus by week 18. At week 20 of its development, at approximately this stage in the pregnancy, accumulated waste in the fetal digestive tract will be excreted in an initial bowel movement known as meconium. B and T lymphocytes, cells important to the immune system, begin forming and accumulating in lymphoid tissue such as the bone marrow and spleen. The skin develops specialized structures including sebaceous and sweat glands. The hair and nails continue to grow steadily. So this is the development of a fetus by week 20. And by week 22, the hormone levels in the fetus fluctuate as the pituitary gland develops. Eyebrows, eyelashes, and tear ducts have started to form. At approximately week 22, the heartbeat is likely detectable with a stethoscope. So this is now the development of a fetus by week 22. And by the week 24, the structures of the inner ear are fully formed. Receptors and fluid-filled ducts or tubes needed for hearing and balance makes up the membranous labyrinth, which is surrounded by a protective shell known as the bony labyrinth. The external ear is also fully developed. The lower airways of the lungs starts to form. The fetus is storing fat, which aids in retaining heat and temperature regulation. The increased subcutaneous fat also reduces the appearance of wrinkles. So this is now the development of a fetus by week 24. By week 26, the eyelashes and eyebrows are well defined by week 26. The eyelids remain closed, but the eyes move quickly behind the eyelids, known as rapid eye movement or REM sleep. In the lungs, small air pockets or alveoli in groups called alveolar sacs have developed, but the lungs are not functional yet. So this is now the fetus by week 26. And by the week 28, the brain is undergoing rapid development. Ridges and fissures known as gyri and sulci continue to form on the surface of the brain. The fetus is able to partially open and close the eyelids. The irises are likely a dark color. The eye color may not be finalized until the months after the birth. The umbilical cord has been elongating steadily throughout the second trimester. At approximately week 28 or the beginning of the third trimester, it has reached its peak length. So this is now the development of the fetus by week 28. And by week 30, the fetus most likely has thicker hair on its head. The soft, fine lanugo hair covering the skin will begin to shred in the coming weeks. In the bone marrow, red blood cells starts to form. So this is now the fetus by week 30. And by week 32, at this stage, the fetus pupils expand and contract in response to light stimuli. The fingernails continue lengthening and have likely reached the tips of each digit. The toenails will continue lengthening for several weeks. So this is how the fetus has developed by week 32. And by week 33, in the brain, important sulci or fissures are forming. At this stage, the bones are fully developed and start to harden, except for the skull. The malleability of the skull allows for easier passage through the birth canal. Although not fully mature yet, the fetus lungs are developed enough to begin breathing. And this is now the fetus by week 33. And by the week 35, the rapid brain development of the previous weeks has resulted in a complex configuration of gyri or ridges and sulci or fissures on the surface of the brain. At this stage in the pregnancy, the fetus has developed sleeping patterns and continues to move around when awake. The fetus is undergoing a period of rapid weight gain of approximately 8 to 12 ounces per week. A fat layer under the skin continues to develop, which provides warmth after birth. And this is now the fetus by week 35. And by week 36, the fetus has grown large enough that it puts pressure on the surrounding organs in its mother, including the bladder, stomach, intestines, and diaphragm. During approximately week 36 or 37, the fetus commonly rotates until the head is facing downward toward the birth canal. The fetus continues to breathe and swallow, ingesting amniotic fluid with shred lanugo and vernix caseosa. The waste excreted in the first bowel movement is called meconium. So this is how the fetus will look like at week 36. And by week 37, at this stage, the fetus is adept at finger grasping and thumb sucking motions in preparation for breastfeeding after birth. The musculoskeletal system is fully developed. And this is how the fetus have improved by week 37. And by week 38, by the last several weeks of the pregnancy, the fetus toenails have lengthened enough to reach the tips of the toes. At this stage, The lenses of the eyes have finished developing. And this is now how the fetus would look like at week 38. And by week 39, at week 38, the fetus is considered full term and has fully functioned organs and body systems. The brain, heart, lungs, liver, and other organs are fully developed and able to function outside of the uterus. The fetus has accumulated insulating fat and has developed a more prominent chest to ensure proper temperature regulation after birth. And the baby is already fully developed and is ready to face the outside environment.